Yeah, can we let them know how much we appreciate them? Right? Little hand, just a little hand clap. Yeah, great. Yeah. It could it could be golf style. It's all right, as long as it's something. Yeah. Saturday morning, I usually get a one kind of guitar solo that's off key, and I don't even know keys. It's good to see you this morning. Glad we're back. The quiche looked really good. Maybe I'll have some a little bit later. I got some help from Amanda this morning, which I appreciate very much, both of them, especially with this thing. Ezra chapter 4. We're living in an incredible time period of restoration. Not so much of going back to Acts 2 through 11. That was the beginning of something. That was not to be the fulfillment nor the end. Nor back to the garden. This is something that the Lord has, and I believe that the Apostle Paul and the prophet Isaiah's words were correct, that eye hath not seen nor ear heard, nor has entered the heart of any man that which the Lord has prepared for them who have been waiting for him and loving him from the beginning of time. And in every generation the Lord declares things over those generations, believing those that live in those time periods would embrace them. We're certainly there. Ezra chapter 4. What do I have? It starts in verse 23. Oh yeah, great, okay. Now when the copy of King Artaxerxes' letter was read before Rehum and Shimshai the scribe and their companions, they went up in haste to Jerusalem and to the Jews and made them to cease by force and power. Then ceased the work of the house of God which was at Jerusalem, so it ceased unto the second year of the reign of Darius king of Persia. Then the prophets Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddu prophesied unto the Jews that were in Judah and Jerusalem in the name of God of Israel, even unto them. Then arose up Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel and Joshua the son of Josedek, and began to build the house of God which was at Jerusalem. With them were the prophets of God helping them. The Haggai, we left here last night. The prophet Haggai, if you look for him, be Matthew, Malachi, or better known by my New York friends as Malachi, and then the prophet Zechariah, and then the prophet Haggai. Chapter 2. In the 7th month and the 20th day of the month came the word of the Lord by the prophet Haggai, saying, Speak now unto Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and to Joshua the son of Josedek the high priest, and to the residue of the people, saying, Who is among you that saw this house in her first glory? How do you see it now? It is not in your eyes in comparison of as if nothing? Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel, saith the Lord, and be strong, O Joshua the son of Josedek the high priest. Be strong, all the people of the land, saith the Lord, and work, for I am with you, saith the Lord of hosts. According to the word which I covenanted with you when you came out of Egypt, so my spirit remaineth with you. Fear not. Love that. Verse 6. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, yet once it is a little while, I will shake the heavens, the earth, the sea, and the dry land. I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come. I'll fill this house with glory, saith the Lord of hosts. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith the Lord. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than that of the former, saith the Lord of hosts. And in this place I will give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. Hebrews chapter 12. Good. You're following me? It's always important for, if you don't mind this word, a hermeneutic, just a science of interpretation. When something is in the New Testament, we've got to view it back. And here is a quote in the Hebrew letter from the prophet Haggai. Verse 25. Seeing that you refused, did I stop in 24? Yeah, no, I started in 22. I liked it even better. But you have come unto Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, the innumerable company of angels. This is to be our experience. To the general assembly, the church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, and to the God, judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect, and to Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaketh better things than of Abel. Verse 25, see that you refuse not him that speaketh, for if they escape not who refused him that spoke on the earth, how much more shall we escape if we turn away from him that speaketh from heaven? Whose voice then shook the earth, but now he hath promised, saying, yet once more I will shake the earth, not only the earth only, but also the heavens. And this word yet more signifying the removing of those things that are shaken, as of things that are made, and those things that cannot be shaken may remain. Wherefore we, receiving a kingdom, have received it, are receiving it, and will receive it. We, receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear, godly awe. Verse 29, for our God is a consuming fire. One last little verse, the first vision of the young prophet Zechariah. We'll see him a little bit later today. I love these prophetic books. They're so important to us. Chapter 1. It's the first of eight visions this young prophet will have in one night. Love this. Verse 7. Upon the 4th and 20th day of the 11th month, which is the month of Sebat, in the 2nd year of Darius, came the word of the Lord unto Zechariah the son of Berechiah and the son of Iddo the prophet, saying, I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse, and he stood among the myrtle trees that were in the bottom, and behind him were these red horses speckled and white. And then said I, O Lord, what are these? And the angel that talked to me said unto me, I will show you what these things are. And the man that stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, these are they whom the Lord has sent to walk to and fro throughout the earth. And they answered the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees and said, we have walked to and fro through all the earth, and behold, the earth sitteth still and is at rest. Then the angel of the Lord said, O Lord of hosts, how long wilt thou not have mercy on Jerusalem and the cities of Judah against them, which these cities have indignation these 70 years? And the Lord answered the angel and says with me with good and comfortable words. So the angel that commanded me said unto me, cry thou, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great jealousy. For I am sore displeased. I am displeased with the heathen that are at ease. For I was but a little displeased, and they have forwarded the affliction. Therefore saith the Lord, I have returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it, saith the Lord of hosts, and a line shall be stretched forth in Jerusalem. Cry yet, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, my cities through prosperity shall yet be spread abroad, and the Lord shall yet comfort Zion, and shall choose Jerusalem. Amazing. Always remember that the historical books will speak of Israel first, always. And then to the next generation of people of the kingdom of God, which is you and I, as we approach this. Let's pray. Father, thank you so for me, this remaining honor and privilege to be part of this church, these great folks, this family who I love dearly. This area of our country, Lord, I'm standing kind of in the east side of Middle. And we're believing that you're intending to do something we've never seen before. We're believing that you, in your heart, you're desiring to cause something to happen in our world that'll change history. I believe that. So this morning, Lord, I'm praying for the revelation of Jesus Christ to be all of ours, the revelation of the kingdom of God, that you're absolutely establishing in a way it's never been established before in this very day that we're living in. And Lord, let these books of Revelation, these prophetic books, let them be simplified, known, seen, that you might freshen in a fresh way, write something on our hearts that will cause us to embrace you. And as you said to these young men, that they would have courage, that our courage, our passion would be increased, not just here, but across the nation, across the world. Father, I believe that, and I thank you for it. In Jesus' name, amen. Not to repeat last night a little bit, we have to have the history. It's an incredible moment. It's 536 BC. If you could live this out with me a little bit, the children of Israel have been in captivity for 7 years for one reason, because they would not keep the Sabbath. So because of that, they went into this captivity. It was a judgment upon them. This was not like the Egyptian one. This was a judgment. It wasn't to produce something in them. Most of these young men, especially Joshua and Zerubbabel, were born in Babylon. I wish I could take time this morning to talk about Babylon, the incredible nation. I was hoping when they opened up Iraq that we can get some of their writings, because they wrote incredibly, and the Persians will get all of the Babylonian writings. They were a merciless people. They came the first time and took Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You know them. They made slaves of their captives. They would change their name. It's a Babylonian way. Talk about that another time. I can only imagine these young men, Joshua especially, being a high priest and of the order of the priest. He's never functioned as a priest. He's never seen the garments, really. He's never been who he's born to be, much like us. Zerubbabel had it in his heart to rebuild the city of God, but he had never been there. He'd never seen it. He had no idea what it even looked like. He would have to depend on what God gave him as a dream. I believe that's also in us. I said it last night, that there's something in all of us, not just me, many of us, especially the younger generation, that the Lord is intending to do something we've never seen before. I absolutely believe that. And so here the new king of Persia, 4 years now, Cyrus, he will expand his kingdom from India to Ethiopia in time, incredible time period. Esther one day will be the queen in this nation somewhere probably 45 years, almost 50 years to that point. He will stand up and say, the kingdoms of the world have been given to me by the Lord God. Probably he knows this probably from the life of Daniel, and he's commanded me to rebuild the house in Israel, Jerusalem. Is there anybody in my kingdom that is from that man? I could only imagine what they thought. It would be like any president, any king saying that kind of thing now. And so 49,697 of these Jews left their homes. I don't know why they all weren't there. This is where synagogues started, by the way. There was no temple. There was no worship. They built what we now know as synagogues, and they held their meetings there. They never sacrificed. They never had feasts. It was a horrible time. The city of Jerusalem, we'll see it in a moment, was in 585 BC burnt to the ground by Nebuchadnezzar. He was unmerciful to it because of the rebellion of the present king. He'll burn all the 12 gates, will be nothing but ashes. He will tear down the walls that Solomon built, and he'll burn every stone, break every stone. He'll tear down the temple that there'll be almost nothing left. He'll take all the beautiful articles, except for the ark, and bring them to Babylon. So these 49,697, they leave, they head westward. And they come around the Dead Sea, led by Joshua, the high priest, and Zerubbabel. Joshua's probably 25, and Restoration, the priest could be 25, but most likely 30. And Zerubbabel probably the same age. They might have even grown up together, might have talked about such a day. They came up, I just want you to see, as they came by Hebron to Bethlehem. Jerusalem, this amazing city that you and I see, was nothing but rubble. Everything, it was overgrown. There hadn't been anybody in it for almost 50 years. Nebuchadnezzar left the poor and the destitute. Jeremiah was there at that time as well. They came up, but it didn't bother them. I mean, with all this hard work and difficulty, they were just jacked. I mean, there was a passion that they had. There was a courage that they had. There were no walls, so their enemies were all around them. It was the laughing stock of the world. They would laugh at it. The prophets would mark it that this was once a great city. Yeah, this was once where kings feared this city. Now look at it. It's nothing but a rubble. There was once a great God that was here. That kind of talk was going throughout the earth. They got there, and first year, the 7th month, they built an altar. They had never had one. They sacrificed the whole burnt offering. It signifies to the Jew that everything we have is yours. They celebrated the Feast of Tabernacles. They haven't done that in 70 years. It was what we would know as July. The 2nd year, they laid the foundation of the temple. The old men wept as the prophet Haggai is going to ask them, what do you think about this? They cried because they remembered the greatness of Solomon's temple. Solomon's temple, many think that it was only visited by the Queen of Sheba, but all the kings of the earth came. It was that majestic. The nation was that incredible. When they laid the temple floor, the young men shouted. I told you last night, I'm between the two. I weep for what I believe God intended to do, even in my dad's generation. But I got this fresh stoke that this beginning of God is something we've never seen before. I certainly want you to have it before I leave. It's amazing, it's historical. There's no problem with the enemy until someone has it in their heart to see the restoration of God. If we leave it the way it is, and if we don't really care, and if they didn't care, the enemy was fine. But as soon as somebody has it in their heart, it's absolutely historical from the beginning of time all the way to the time of Jesus. He had issues because he came with something the world had never seen before. They could not take that. I want you to know, and I want to clear the air with this. This rage of the spirit of the age, this Antichrist spirit, Babylonian spirit, it's all the same thing. It's the enemy to the people of God. It's the enemy to him. It's the enemy to the church. When it's raging like this, you can be assured God is about to do something they're afraid of. The enemy rage is their fear of what God is intending to do. Do not be afraid of it. Do not fear. The prophet Haggai is going to say, listen, be strong and don't be afraid. I agree for our day. And so the enemy came, and I didn't want to read it all to you. I might read some later, but I don't think so, though. But they weakened their hands. They pressured them. And so this people that were once passionate had courage. They were excited like I remember I was. I remember how the church was for me 40 years ago. There was a courage and excitement and passion. And what happened was they so pressured them that they lost their courage, and they just got weary and tired. And Ezra really right that they literally lost the passion, and they'll just simply go home. I mean, I think we're living in a day where the passion of the people of God is weaned a bit, and there's more. I don't think it's COVID. A nice excuse for it. I'm not angry with them. He's not angry with them. Don't be angry with them. But some people have just gone home, and they're saying, like, this is worthless. I don't know what the purpose of this is. I don't get it. I have friends of mine who went to Bible college with me. They too have left the church. Oh, I'm still a Christian, but I don't see any reason for the church. I don't understand it. And I just shake my head. I understand how they feel because the pressure has been so on us. And the courage and the fearlessness, not a fearlessness to fight or an attitude toward people, but I mean this passion to believe God. It takes courage to believe Him. It does. 16 years it'll be dormant. I won't give you much of this history anymore today, but it's going to be key for this meeting, the next one, and the next one after that. I feel for Joshua and Zerubbabel because I feel the same way. 20 years ago, I thought for sure we would be a different people in a different church. I thought for sure. I knew for sure that there was going to be a return of His glory. There was going to be a great hope. There would be a revelation of Him. There would be a passion, a huge sickling. I'm not talking about 4 or 5. I want 3,000 in a day. I want 5,000 a day. I want some Bible in our day. That's what I want. I'm looking for this. And so I feel for them. I could imagine, I said last night, that I'm sure Joshua came out probably early in the morning because the priest always did. That was something that's very priestly. You came out in the morning, you came out in the evening, you came to the temple, you put oil in the lamp, and you put incense on. It was part of what they did. It's a priestly thing, this meeting with God morning and evening. I'm sure he came out in the mornings at times and just stood on that floor and that altar that had nothing on it. Still hearing the rage of the enemy, still hearing everything that they've done, and it's a moment of time that I feel for him. I mean, he believed that this was his calling, this was his purpose, and I think for many of us and for many people, they thought for sure this is the day, this is the time, this is the will of God, this is what I'm called to be. And 16 years of looking at nothing but a floor, probably regrowing weeds on it. I'm sure Zerubbabel came out. I'm sure they met at times and wondered, Zerubbabel for sure, I so relate to him because every one of us are builders here. Every one of us. Some, certainly our own house, but some of us are involved in building other houses. Some are master builders. We're all builders. I'm sure he looked at it and how I would have thought, Joshua, what did I do? I mean, I left my family. I left my life back there. I mean, granted, we were slaves in Persia, but it was my life. I mean, I thought when I came here, this was going to be it, man. This was going to be the day. This was going to be, I mean, he's now probably 46 or 47 years old. I love this prophet, Haggai, and the prophet Zechariah. Let me just begin this way. You see, these men like you and I were walking around in their day as you and I are. What they didn't know was there was something going on in the invisible world. Something God was doing here that they couldn't see. Something he was responding to the day that they were living in. He was about to do something. He was about to declare something over this moment. I believe we're living in the same kind of moment now. They didn't know. They had no idea. That's why the prophetic voice and the prophet voice is so important, even in the time we're in. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. And Haggai is first. He will, as I said last night, he'll speak 4 times in 3 months. And then the last time he speaks, 2 months later, this young prophet will have these 8 visions. We're going to look at just one of them this morning. And so I love this beginning point, because the Lord is looking down in the earth and he's about to declare something. But let me begin with the prophet Haggai first, because I've got to say this to us. So he says immediately, and I want to say it to us, how does this look to you? And the reality is, though, is all of my older friends older than me, and maybe Pastor Kim might even see it this way, but I remember when it was a greater day than now. I'm going to talk a little about it Sunday. My first 12 years of my Christianity, I was 22 to the time I was 32, 33 years old, 34. I saw in my own life incredible things from me. I mean, I was just Jay, nobody. Incredible things, and I watched them diminish as I got older. Some say to me, I don't have faith. Really? I can't prophesy without faith. Please, don't even go there. Something was wrong. Something was going on. Something was changing. Somewhere we needed him. Only he could have intervened in this situation. It's a good place to be desperate for God. He can only be the one to change it. So the prophet Haggai says first, what do you think of this? And I'm sure the old men looked and thought, what, this? Yeah, what do you think of it? How does it compare to that? Oh, well, I can tell you right now, it doesn't compare much. How does it look to you? And I'm sure they just looked at it as I have. I look at the day that you and I are living, and I'm going, what? No, I know. But in the beginning, I thought, what is taking place here? What's happening to us? Where are we? My own family. I'm thinking, what's going on here? And then the prophet Haggai begins to declare some things I want to begin talking about this morning. He says, I want you to know something. I'm about to shake the heavens, the earth, the dry land, and the seas. I'm about to shake every kingdom. I quoted it and I read it out of the book of Hebrews, because I want you to see this, though. Wasn't just this moment, but the Lord intended when you get to a place like this, where the people of God are desperately in need of something, desperately in need of change, before he restores anything, he will shake, and we're living it now. He is shaking everything. Please know this, though. Positive for the people of God. Kingdoms are being shaken. The first shaking is already us. The apostolic, the prophetic, the pastorals, the teachers, all the people who teach, everybody in church, the people of God are being shaken to the core. But I love the Hebrew writer. Now, the Hebrew changes a little bit. The Hebrew writer adds to it. He says, listen, I'm shaking everything, and what's to remain will remain, and what's to be shaken off will be shaken off. Please, I want to say to you in a big parenthesis, I want whatever doesn't need to be stay with Jay Leroux to be shaken off. And whatever's to remain, let it remain. What happens, though, is especially the older generations, we hold on to things that we think are precious. We hold on to things, even the young ones, we think that, well, this is precious, this is something, and I've watched it, we just don't want to let it go. But he'll shake it until it goes. There are some things in my life that he's already shaken off, and I'm sure he'll shake off more. But he's doing it for a purpose, because he's got to change the foundation of the church. That's the purpose for it. I said it to one of the individuals. Might have been, I don't know if it was, I probably said it last night or something. No, it was to that lady right there. As far as he doesn't replace the temple, he restores it and rebuilds it right where it is. It's a beautiful thing. So he's going to shake the heavens, shake the earth. Why? Because I'm going to establish a kingdom that cannot be removed. We have been living so short of the dimensions of the kingdom of God that I want us to get prepared for the Lord to return the power, the glory, and the person of Jesus Christ in dimensions you and I have never seen in our lifetime, ever. He's intending to do that. That's why the shaking. And that's why he says, listen, with grace, serve God with fear. The idea is with awe, and not with trembling like I'm shaking, but with reality, with a dimension of saneness, a reality of where we are, that in a moment now, Liz, when it seems like everybody's disappearing, everybody's hiding, we're wondering where our friends are, wondering where the other, we're wondering what's going on in our world. This is the time to embrace him, knowing that he's shaking everything. It's where we are right now. But here's the things that I love. So that's the place. So the prophet Haggai begins to say this. Let me say a few things that he says, though, which I love. He says, the glory of the latter house will be greater than the former. So please know this. Everything about Solomon's temple, if you ever studied it, you ever watched it, this, as I said yesterday, I said it again this morning, was the most glorious day of the children of Israel. The greatest years of the history of Israel to this day was this day with Solomon. I mean, the expansion of his kingdom, the money, the value. They used to trade their wines for stone, for precious stones, for timber. It was incredible what David and Solomon had in that day. It didn't last for a lot of years, but it was the most incredible moment. And the prophet Haggai says this. He goes, you know how great that was? And everybody had to go, yeah, we remember. He goes, the glory of this house will be greater than that house. His intent is to do something with the church that's been the greatest event the church has ever known. That's been a promise to every generation. The question is, why haven't other generations experienced it? It's what we're facing right now. Then he says this, I love this, and I want you to be encouraged by this. He says, the desire of the nation shall come. Incredible moment. Because the idea of the whole wording is this, that there'll be a passion within them, and they'll begin to want him. That's what happens when the Lord does something in the earth. The world changes, and where it seems as though there's a disinterest in the person of Jesus Christ, the shaking and the glory changes it all. That's what we need, nothing less than that. I appreciate revivals. They have not lasted. I appreciate rains. They're short. We need something that is world-changing, and the only thing that does that is the glory of God. Not this kavod that was upon Mount Sinai, but the doxa of the New Testament glory. You okay? I'm giving you a lot of stuff. I hope you're all right with it. Now I want to come to this first vision of the prophet Zechariah. Sorry. I love this moment because I love the imagery of it. And much of the prophetic stuff is shadowed. That's how it's written, so that it has to be really known by an understanding. It has to be opened up. It has to be revealed. Not that I'm special by any means, but these are books that I love. And it's so important for us. It's his first vision, the ones he's going to have. We're going to look at the first, second, and third visions are very, very important to us. Because they did happen there, but they're a prophetic word to the future. The fifth and sixth, the fourth and fifth ones we're going to look at a little bit. The fourth one and the fifth one today. Incredible. We have to talk about these two because they involve us. This first one I love, though. And let me just, if you don't mind, just for a moment, just paint the picture, set the scene. The Lord has sent out their horses, men on horses. And we know now what they are, is they're the eyes of the Lord. They're going to go to and fro. And so here he is in this invisible place that we know is his domain, heaven. We have really no idea. They don't have any idea what's happening. Joshua and Zerubbabel are both depressed. The people have no courage. They have no hope. They have no real dream. It's just dormant. Nothing happening, just living life. Doing their Sunday thing, Monday thing, Tuesday thing. They've lost passion. They've lost hope. Plus, there's a famine. There's no money. The stock market has been going down. This young prophet begins to see this vision. It's an incredible moment. So these riders come back, and they report back to the angel. It's, of course, the Lord. It's all in one. And he says this, it amazed me, and I didn't understand it. The earth is at ease and resting. And the report back displeases him. here's what I want to portray to you and I. You see, at this moment, the church, the temple is dormant. There's no glory. There's no priesthood. It's a rubble heap. The world is just laughing at it, mocking it for all these 70 years plus. The only thing that rocks the world is that temple. The only thing that causes don't think that they were sitting like this happy. They were having wars, they were having fights. If you study the history, there was all kinds of strange things going on, all kinds of weirdness. You know, without the temple then, there's no hope, there's no glory, there's no light. So the world's just getting darker. Only the world could be comfortable in darkness. Only the world can. So everything is at ease because the people of God are destitute. They're without glory, without life, without light. And so when the Lord looks down at it, he's disturbed by it. He's displeased. Plus, he says, not only were they a part of it, but they have continued to push it. He has come to an end. He's about to change everything. Please know this. He's about and is changing everything. That's our hope. That's our dream. That's our belief. That's where our faith is. That's where everything is. It has nothing to do with what's going on in this world. It's what he is declaring here. And so he begins to declare that he's going to bring an end to the ease, and that he is going to return back to Jerusalem. He's going to rebuild her. He's going to restore her. But I love the word, though. The prophet Zechariah says Zion, because in truth, though, Zion becomes you and I. I read that in the book of Hebrews. We've come to Mount Zion. So not only was he speaking about this moment, but he's speaking about the future of the people of God, which speaks to our day now. And here they are, and it is truth, though. I hate saying this, and I say it with the most incredible laying on my face, sorrowful humility. We have no influence upon the world. We're not affecting her. Something's wrong with us. I used to blame us. We need something from him. And when he sees this, he decides, I'm ending the ease. I'm about to bring a restoration. I'm going to return to not only Jerusalem and Judah, but to all of my cities. I'm going to bring a prosperity. I'm going to cause things to change in a way they've never changed before. And what he is going to do is the only thing he will do, and that is to establish his kingdom, a kingdom that cannot be removed. We're in the process right now. We're going to see it as the morning goes on. I'm almost through with this. We had to see this point because we've been between these two things. As I said to you in the beginning, there were things I'll share more on Sunday. But in my life, from the time I was 22, I didn't start going to church until I was 25. We went to a prayer group. Then from 25 to 28, then I went to Bible college. And I spent about 6 years there, and then it went on but all these years, the miracles that we saw, the people getting saved was incredible. Every single day of my life, I'd pick up people in the car, healed of cancer, see legs grow. I'm going to share a couple of those things on Sunday morning. It was just incredible. It was this constant thing, and I just watched it decrease. Oh, I still pray for people. I lost 3 pastor friends to COVID this last year. People I prayed for, laid my hands on people I didn't even know in my car, driving down 95 in Connecticut, that I didn't know healed of cancer, healed of brain tumor. I mean, it was so normal. For me, it was normal. I still think that way. I call it super normal, if you want. What happened is my cry to the one that's in the heavens. What's going on? Where are we? What do you want to do? Part of it is my own cry. Part of it is my responsibility that I'm living here going, what's wrong with this town? We've got to have something. So I, like you, would be angry at the builders, angry at the priesthood, angry at the people, angry at the church, angry at the devil, angry at the government. Then I realized none of those things matter. The only one that could change it is him who sits in the heavens. And when I began to see this prophet Zechariah, it begin to utter down. And these next three, that we're not going to look at the other two, not only was he going to start this rebuilding process, not only he's going to change everything. So you do realize that, and I'm just connecting the history for us here, is nothing changed with Zerubbabel. There was still a famine. There was still the threat of the enemy. There was no walls. I mean, they were vulnerable. Sometimes like how I feel. Like, what's going to happen next? All of a sudden, they had this courage. Where did it come from? All of a sudden, they had this passion. And what they couldn't do in 16 years, they did in 2. But I want to say this to you. Zerubbabel's temple was finished, but there was no glory in it. There was no life in it. These prophetic words for another day, another temple. It's you. It's us. It's our day. If we have a hope this morning, it's that God intends to restore us to what he originally intended us to be. I said to you, we're not going back to Acts 2, 3, 4, 5 to Acts 11. What a day. Oh, I think it's marvelous. That's not where he's going back. Nor to the garden, even pre-Adam's sin, not to that place. There was some things that were in the heart of God from the beginning that he longed to do. He was just looking for a people that might say yes to him. I think the people I'm with are those people. They're definitely you. Please don't look at the group here. Don't look at that. Doesn't. I traveled 3 years and taught 2 people 3 hours. I drive 3 hours, one back and forth, to teach 2 people that wanted to be trained through our Bible school. The numbers aren't an issue. It's what we believe. It's what we're hoping for. And this young man, Zerubbabel, he filled this temple, this Joshua priesthood. They finished it up. It was an incredible moment. They didn't fear the enemy. The enemy never came in. The Lord stayed it away. This morning and all this morning, through this afternoon, especially tonight, it's a time of hope for you and I. If I can say it this way, it's a time to be willing. That's why last night was so important for us, though. We've got to go to the mountain. That was the first word. When they started to go to the mountain and gather wood, the hope, the energy, it just built itself up. We're going to see Joshua this morning in a little while, and then we're going to see Zerubbabel this afternoon. What happened to this? Why is this priesthood so important? What is this? What is this with this priesthood? It's something from the very beginning of the people of God. There was going to be a priest. The first one we see is this Melchizedek person with Abraham. There's something about this priesthood. Isn't it amazing? I'm not a priest. We're priests. Something about us. He has an intent in our world that we have never functioned in. We relate to Joshua. And I believe without question, I'm looking forward to my builder friends are these guys, you guys, but all these pastors now. I'm part of 60 churches at least, and probably more like 75 in relation this way, that way. And more the call is to hope and believe. More the call is, Dr. J, whatever they want to call me. Is it possible that God is doing something that we don't see? And my absolute word is absolutely. They had no idea what he was doing. They had no idea that for him, it was personal. For him, they knew he's the only one that could change it. And I want you to know, if there's anybody hopeful in our day, it's him. If there's anybody believing in him, in us, it's him. If there's anyone dreaming for us, it's him. No one dreams more. No one hopes more. And this disconnect is going to change. He's going to reconnect. And I want you to get ready, though. We'll take a break now. And then I'll do more prophecy after the next session and the session after that. I want you to get ready.